G'day and welcome to another episode. My name is Daethstro, the Aussie Geek, and today we are looking at the Transformers the movie G1 reissue of Skywarp. So this is the last of my teaser videos that I did a whole bunch of shorts for when I got them. So yeah, it's nice to catch up before I get any more figures. Now, for starters, I did have someone tell me, and even looking through the camera at the moment, that his colors are off. He looks really, really blue. And I thought, you know what? I don't think so. He looks purple. But honestly, he is a very, very, very light shade of, say, indigo or something. I don't know the colors of purple, but he's purple, but he's a really, really dull purple. Almost basically converging onto blue. And I had a look up on Google for the G1 Skywarp. And true enough, the G1 Skywarp is a lot darker. So he should be a darker color purple, which I will use an example later. But yeah, he is a little too blue for Skywarp. But in saying that, this guy is the last of the G1 Seekers. The original G1 Seekers are not including the Coneheads, although I will be looking forward to when they actually, if and when they do the Coneheads. Also, I'm not obviously including Sunstorm or Ion Storm, Acid Storm, Nova Storm, because if they bring those out, great, I might get them, but as far as I know, they're not. And I'm not even sure what the original purple one was in the first episode. Although I have seen Make Toys is releasing that, but I like me 3 Seekers and me 3 Coneheads. So here we go. So here is Skywarp in his meant-to-be movie colors. But the black looks good. The black's good. But even the camera's bringing up the purple a lot bluish, I admit. It is a little bit darker purple, but honestly, not by much. But he does look good. He is a G1 figure, so he does have a lot of the traditional issues. You know, a whole lot of parts forming. Ironically, really no gaps except for in his back. And of course, if you really want to, you could always make him a Conehead anyway. So that's up to you. But they did, whoops, shouldn't have grabbed his wings. They did paint his face really nicely, which is really good. So yeah. I would suggest if you want to use the Megatron that comes with him, to put it in his hand before you actually plug it in. So it makes it a lot easier. So I'll just take that off for the moment. And it's just 2 separate parts. So this piece plugs into the bottom of the hand, which is why you have this piece. And the top plugs into the top like so. So we'll put Megatron off for the side for the moment, because you can plug him into jet mode, but to this day I still have not figured out how that works. Now, the big problem in the room, apart from the fact that he's not a dark enough purple, is, of course, his null rays. They're very big, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned them in all the other ones. His missiles are worse. I understand, excuse me, I understand why they did what they did. It's for choking hazards, but in saying that, it still doesn't help much. But they are spring-loaded, so you can shoot them out. Which I will say, like I said, this isn't too bad, honestly. This is a bit much, but considering all things, I'm pretty sure the G1 was actually pretty close to that. So I think it's actually the missiles that got the worst end for it. So we'll just eject those for the time being, because I knew I was going to set them off anyway. And we'll put them aside. So as for articulation, his head doesn't really do anything unless you want to use transformation joints to make him look up. Or you can use his chest canopy, but of course That's breaking the sculpt, which, sure. Arms do a full 360. Wings are in the way, but you can, of course, remove the wings. That gives you full out. There is no out. There is back if you angle it right, but that's more for transformation. Wings can be angled to be moved. You can actually make it so that they're actually folded all the way back if you want, so that way you don't have anything. But I do like it preferably just behind the arms. No elbows, no wrist, no fingers, no hips, no knees, which is funny because the knees would be up here even though that's where the hip is. You do have toe tilt, but that's more for transformation. And I just realized I'm missing a piece. Be back in a second. So the other piece I forgot is for jet mode, which I left in the living room. You don't have to have these wings on if you don't want. You can have a cleaner foot, but I just do it for why not. Also, there is a hole in the bottom of this. For robot mode, I keep these up the front and then swap them around, as you'll see during transformation. Alright, so let's get this guy transformed. We won't do a size comparison just yet, but we'll get him into jet mode first. Also, I'll point out, I have been displaying my G1 reissues in vehicle mode because they're the easiest to get back into. So my shelf is actually transformed to G1 reissues. Alright, so you can do this one or two ways. You can do the parts for me way or the less parts for me way. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take his hands off because we no longer need those. We are going to unplug his null rays because we need to shift them in a minute. We're going to unpeg the side wings. I'm not quite sure what they're actually physically called. What we are going to do then is we're going to flip the... Actually, won't flip the head up because we'll need a little bit more movement. We'll flip it up and over. Then you're going to swing all this through and put the nose back in place. Yes, you can see his face. We can then bend the wings back. Now, if you want to make this a little bit easier for yourself, you can just unplug the wings. I don't like to. So just bring the arm back and down. Bring the arm back and down. And then you have these two pegs, which will go into the port in the back of his canopy. You can see it peeking through there. So bring that back. Voila. Then we can bring the wings down. We can take our side wings again, our tail fins, whatever. Now, as you can see, you have the holes in the bottom. Once again, I point them down, so they're actually going to on the opposite leg. So there we go. And then we can come under here. You can flick these feet up, which gives us our landing wheels. But we can also grab the piece I forgot and plug that just under his head. So that way we have all the landing wheels. But we're not done yet, because then we're going to bring in the null rays and plug them underneath. And then we can do the fiddliest part. We can bring in the missiles. Now you can leave the null rays in. It's up to you, but obviously in this mode, it's supposed to have the missiles. And you're probably already seeing, if you haven't watched my other reviews, the ridiculousness that is the Decepticon missiles. Well, the Seeker missiles. Because they stick a long way out the front. Now, I did say, I think in the Skywarp video, I could be wrong, that if I had the talent, which I can't say I completely have, I'd figure out how much of this will actually fit in the null ray and cut it off with a Dremel or something and just push in there. Yes, there will be nothing to grab onto it. You could possibly cut, here I'll do a better example. You could possibly cut this off and part of this and glue them together. So you actually still have this grip, but your missiles will be shorter. But I'm not that talented. I can build a shelf, but I am no good at craftsmanship. Please have a look at my Unicron stand that I modified from a storage container, which I don't think I've actually physically properly shown, because I've never done my Unicron as a review. Maybe one day. Now, we do have some articulation there, so I suppose you could call it. You can lift up the canopy, which I honestly believe that I have forgotten to mention in every single one of my Seeker videos. You can open the canopy. Now, you can angle your wings if you want at some weird ways. Try to do a weird tetrajet thing if you want. It's not going to go all the way up, but you can do that if you really, really, really want to. And of course, he does slide. There is metal in him. His chest is metal. His crotch is metal. And my missiles coming out. Everything else is plastic, from what I can feel. So there we go. So let's do a size comparison. Here he is with Windblade. So honestly, despite the fact that he's a little bit longer and she's a little bit shorter, they're roughly the same size. Yeah, even wingspan wise, she's about the same width. So there is that. So yeah, decent size. I haven't got all the rest of them off my shelf, sorry, but I will of course leave the playlist at the front of the video, so if you want to have a look at all the G1 reissues, size comparisons and whatnot, you'll have that. So let's get this guy transformed again. Oh, by the way, for those of you wondering how Megatron connects, I'm still trying to figure that out, because you do have this peg here, and there's nothing in the instructions. And so I'm not quite sure where it pegs in, and no one's ever corrected me yet. So, oh, there we go. Not really. I was going to say, maybe it was that. The side of the intake. Well, that's on there. Oh, we may have solved it. I don't know, though. Because Megatron will have to get plugged on the top, which means you'd basically rubbing against that. So I still don't know. But yeah, I have no idea how Megatron connects. Anyway, so I'll put Megatron off. We will put the missiles off to the side. We can take the landing wheels off. And we'll take the null rays off. We'll come back here, and once again, we'll take these pieces off. And we are left with this. So what we are going to do is we might as well pull the feet down. And I will say, I don't know if it's due to how it was built, but his legs should be a little bit wider. We're going to spin the wings around. And I'm going to angle it a bit back and just fold it down a little bit so we have a bit of clearance. Fold down the nose cone and push in from the inside out to push the arms out. Then what we can do is fold the nose cone down so it's going through his chest, push all the way through, bring it up and angle the head accordingly. Then we can angle those wings. And we can get these pieces. Once again, this was on this side, but because of this gap, I put it over here. Like I said, you don't have to do this. He is quite sturdy as he is, but I like to just remember how it was when I was a kid. Like, I had Starscream. You know, I was happy about that. Alright, so we're not going to put Megatron in his place this time, but we will put the null rays, and they just plug in the side. Like so. We'll put the hands on first. Now, initially I was putting it this way. I don't know why, but it's supposed to go with the holes. I actually don't remember the G1 actually having holes, because Megatron was not an original addition for these jets. And then we can grab our null rays. I'll do like trying putting the holes to the side if it lets me do it. Friction. whatever you want to call it. Itchy nose. Come on. Come on. There we go. And the other side. And then his wing falls off. Get back on there. And there. I felt that going. There we go. There is Skywarp back in his robot mode. And like I said, he does look good, although I have been displaying them in their jet modes. So we can do our final size comparison. Here he is with MP10. You can see he's tiny compared to MP10. And of course, last but not least, we have Make Toys Crow, their masterpiece, Skywarp. And this is the purple, the color, basically, that should have been used on this guy. Now, even admittedly, through the lens, it is coming across a bit more blue than purple. It's more of a violet, I suppose darker. I can't think of what that word I used before. Lilac. It is a bit more of a darker lilac, but it is coming through a bit more blue, especially with my lighting and my camera. But it should have been a bit more like this. I would have even been happier if this was a bit of a darker purple, and of course that should have been a darker purple. So I will put a link if you want to watch this guy, although he does have a broken intake valve. So there is unfortunately that. So there we go. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. I promise you it will not hurt my feelings. Subscribe, ring that bell, leave me a comment. But apart from that, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.